presentation, if just I can have a short introduction to all of you of what the resilience catalyst is. I'm Petra Malizan from the UNESCO Chair on Intersectoral Safety for Disaster Risk Reduction and Resilience of the University of Udine in Italy. And with the chairholder of our UNESCO Chair, Professor Stefano Grimatz, who is attending the meeting too, we are very pleased to warmly welcome to this second webinar of our Catalyst series. The Catalyst initiative was born within the Resilience Program that is enhancing the resilience to disaster for sustainable development, and it was developed by our chair with the support of the Central European initiatives. Many members are also here participating today. Under the umbrella of the Disaster Risk Reduction Unit of the UNESCO headquarters, the Resilience Catalyst initiative aims to begin exploring the role of UNESCO Chair focused on disaster risk reduction and resilience, considering the complex interplay between the three pillars of UNESCO that are education, science, and culture in transforming the governance for building resilience to disaster. We had the first collegial meeting when we met together and decided to develop a series of webinars that we named the talks. And in these talks, each UNESCO chair will further illustrate its activities relating to building resilience to disaster. In our first talk last year, featured by Professor Dina Dayala and their esteemed colleagues, the UCL UNESCO Chair highlighted the critical importance of multi-hazard and resilience in educational infrastructure. This talk underscored the vital role of UNESCO Chair in connecting academia, policymakers, and communities to address the systemic risks. So, building upon this momentum, we are honored to welcome you, Professor Tachikawa, and your esteemed colleagues from the UNESCO Chair on Water, Energy, and Disaster Management for Sustainable Development, WENDI, if I pronounce it correctly, at the Kyoto University in Japan. We extend our sincere gratitude to you, Professor Tachikawa, the chairholder, and to the entire team, including, and sorry if I mispronounce it, Professor Sayama, Yamashiki, McClellan, and Tsura. And thank you for organizing this very insightful and important session. We are really excited to learn about WENDI's activities through the talk and explore avenues for enhancing international higher education for sustainable development collaboration. And thank you all for participating. We are really confident that this talk will foster a fruitful and engaging discussion. Before I hand over the floor to you, Professor Tachikawa, we would like to remember that this talk is the second in the series of the events. And the next two talks will take place in February. You can find the full schedule and the details in the Resilience website. I will put the link in the chat. In the chat, you also have the flyer of the next talk led by Professor Matthias Mikos. And now, without further delay, I'm delighted to hand over the floor to you, Professor Tachikawa, and to your colleagues. Many, many thanks for your activity.
Yeah, Petra, thank you very much. Petra and US Chair colleagues, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity today. My name is Tachikawa, and I'm in charge of the chairholder of WENDI. WENDI is Water, Energy, and Disaster Management for Sustainable Development. So the aim of the UNESCO Chair WENDI is to implement a comprehensive and interdisciplinary graduate level higher education for sustainable development with a HESD program to foster graduate students with a broad perspective in the field of water, energy, and environmental issues. WENDI was established at Kyoto University in 2018, and since then, many graduate students from various graduate schools have participated. So today, I'd like to introduce the WENDI initiative together with my colleague co-chairs. First of all, I'd like to give an overview of the WENDI. After that, co-chairs will give you a presentation on the activities of WENDIs. So after each presentation, there will be a time for the questions. So please feel free to ask any questions you may have. And after all the presentations have been made, we will have a general discussion time. So this is the aim of the WENDI. Kyoto University has many faculty members specializing in water, energy, and natural disasters in various research fields who belong to different graduate schools and research institutes. So Kyoto University is one of the Japan's leading national universities, and which has 17 graduate schools and 12 research institutes. So there are many researchers conducting research related to water, energy, and the environment and disaster issues. And they are located in various different departments. So that is, for example, Graduate School of Engineering, Graduate School of Agriculture, the Graduate School of Science, Graduate School of Energy Science, or Disaster Prevention Research Institute. So graduate students who enroll in the graduate school of, for example, engineering, usually only know about the course offered by the graduate school of engineering, and only take the courses offered by the graduate school of engineering. However, if they are able to study subjects related to water offered by faculties from other graduate schools and research institutes, they will be able to learn more about water from various perspectives, and I think their horizon will be much more broadened. So this is the aim of WENDI. So the objective of WENDI is to provide a comprehensive and interdisciplinary graduate levels HESD program to foster graduate students with a broad perspectives in the field of water, energy, natural disaster, and environmental issues. So this diagram shows the overall picture of WENDI. This program, the program offered by WENDI, are open to all graduate students affiliated with graduate schools and institutes. And for example, one of the programs offered by WENDI is the course of water resources and water disaster management, which consists of lectures and exercise on water resources and water disaster management offered by different graduate schools and institutes. So WENDI offers courses on water resources and disaster management, as well as the course water environment and water quality course, and also global energy and environment course, and also sustainable bioresources utilization and ecosystem management. So now we offered 4 different courses, and each course, I think this is consists of lectures and exercise. And these lectures and exercise are provided by researchers and professors from different graduate schools. And in addition to these coursework at their own graduate schools, graduate students can participate in lectures and seminars by different graduate schools and institutes on the same subject, for example, water. And these allow them to learn more in depth and broaden their perspectives on the subject. And these programs are not only the course issues, UNESCO IHP and MAP, the related program is also open to these all the students. So this diagram shows the program of water resources and disaster management course. So for example, each graduate schools offer lectures that are in line with content of that graduate school. For example, the Graduate School of Engineering offers these lectures, for example, global survivability studies, global risk analysis, water, sanitary engineering, something like that. So these are related to water and water disaster risk, and also water quality. And also, Graduate School of Agriculture offer these courses. For example, tropical agricultural ecology, so UNESCO Chair, field work, water, forest, and something like that. And also, Graduate School of Advanced Integrated Studies in Human Survivability offer these courses, and also Graduate School of Science, Graduate School of Energy Science. So students can take these courses related to water resource and disaster management. And then students will also have opportunity to meet faculty members and students from different graduate schools in the same field of specialization. So this is the idea of the WENDI. So for example, my student belongs to a graduate school of engineering, but this student can take the course provided by different graduate schools. So they can learn more about, for example, water, and they can broaden their horizon. So that is the idea of the WENDIs. The UNESCO Chair field work, water, forest, and society. So this is a unique course that was newly launched with the establishment of WENDI. So participants will stay overnight and visit Kawakami village in Nara Prefecture. So this is a village near to the mountainous area, and which is one of the MAV programs. So there, participants will acquire basic knowledge about forest ecology, biodiversity, hydrology, ecosystem management, and human social resilience. So this is the one of the unique course. So many students join these new course. And also, WENDI is also associated with UNESCO IHP training course. So this is every year, Disaster Prevention Research Institute at Kyoto University offer 2 weeks online training course. At the last year, DPRI offered integrated base management under climate change, and 42 participants from 20 countries joined. So this course was organized last November. And this course outline is 10 lectures by Kyoto University professors on hydrology and integrated river base management and climate change, and also 10 exercises, including general circulation models analysis or rainfall runoff inundation modeling. And finally, each student will report and make a presentation and discussions. So when the student also can participate this UNESCO IHP training course. Yeah, so this is last year, I think about 42 participants from Africa and also basically Southeast Asian countries. So every year, that is very nice training course. So this is the overview of the WENDI course. And now WENDI offered 4 different courses, water resources and disaster management. So this is the leader of this course is Professor Sayama, the co-chair of the WENDI, and aquatic environment and water quality. So this was led by Professor Yamashiki. He's also co-chair of this WENDI, and energy, environment, and resources. So this was Professor Ben McLaurin. So he's also our colleague co-chairs, and sustainable bioresources utilization and ecosystem management. So this was so the leader of this course is Professor Katsura. So he's also co-chairs. So this is a basic overview of the WENDI programs. And every year, about 10 to 20 students join. And now we have a total of more than 100 students join this course. And after completed these courses, we provided certificate who successfully finished the WENDI course. So after my talks, one by one, I'd like to invite the co-chairs. So before that, I'd like to open any question is really, really welcome. Now, I just talked about the overview of the WENDI program. If there are no questions, I'd like to invite Professor Sayama. He's a professor at Disaster Prevention Research Institute, and he will talk about water resources and disaster management. So Sayama-san, could you please make presentations? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Tachikawa. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. And I will share my screen. I hope you can see my screen well too.
Yes,
okay, thank you very much
well.
for the confirmation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again for this opportunity and also for the introduction. My name is Takahiro Sayama. I'm from Kyoto University, but particularly called the Disaster Prevention Research Institute. And I'm in charge of this course, WENDI particular water resources and disaster management course. And I would like to talk about the kind of some backgrounds and our activities. So one of the disasters that we experienced last year, the earthquake occurred January 1st last year, 2024, in Noto Peninsula. Noto is located here. It's a kind of central part of Japan, but it's very apart also from many like Tokyo or Osaka or those big cities. And this earthquake was very special in the sense that there are a number of different related disasters occurred, including, of course, the earthquake caused the corruptions of the houses, but also tsunami, and also landslides, and even there were fires, and also some changes in the topography. So that caused very significant damages, including many deaths and missing people and related deaths. So this was very tragedy of the disaster occurred last year, January 1st. And we called this one was the kind of multi-hazard disaster. But unfortunately, there was even further disaster, exactly the same place in Noto Peninsula again. The flood occurred in September 2021, 21 to 22. And this was very much severe rainfall, storms, and the the recovery from the earthquake has not been completed. So the people started recovered, but then, it's still ongoing. But unfortunately, the same place was affected by very severe flooding. So this, for example, this image, the right-hand side, this area was affected by both earthquake and fire. Again, the same area was affected by the floods. Similarly, there were, again, the landslide may be associated to the earthquake might some influence on the, land stability, which we do not know yet very scientifically. But then there are the similar kind of landslides occurs both by earthquake and severe storms. And severe storms caused a lot of flooding. So this is really, even though it's a kind of different time, but it's a cascading, it can be considered as a very severe cascading disasters. So the as you can see that this is just one of the examples, but I think in Japan and also in the world, we are facing to many disasters. And particularly if you focus on the water-related disasters, there are a lot of floods and climate change also impacts. And then some countries, you have the problem of water resources and droughts. So there are a lot of global challenges that to be studied and also to be solved. So to do so, as Professor Tachikawa mentioned, we have some activities involving graduate students and also some participants from outside of Kyoto University. I would like to today introduce two main activities from WENDI, our course. The first one is UNESCO IHP online training course that Professor Tachikawa already mentioned, but a little bit more in detail. IHP stands for Intergovernmental Hydrological Program of the UNESCO. And then the other one is Global Survivability Studies, GSS lecture. It's a graduate level interdisciplinary lecture provided not only by, like, for example, myself, engineering background, but also Professor Ben McClellan and Professor Katsura, who are going to give the lectures. Obviously, they have their completely different backgrounds from engineering. So the students can experience many different disciplines in the same lecture. And then our activities, we hope to contribute to, of course, the sustainable development related to SDGs 6, goals 11, goals 13, water, cities, and climate, and also Sendai framework for disaster risk reductions for the resilient societies, but also UNESCO IHP 9 activities that is related to water security. And also, I would like to take one keyword as open science. And we realize that this open science is a really important concept on our activity, or in particular, open hydrology in our A course. Let me briefly explain what's the concept of open science. And there are many, of course, documents available related to open science. But one of the most important ones is perhaps the recommendation of open science by UNESCO, adopted by the 41st session of General Conference in 2021. And I think the concept is to make the science more accessible, inclusive, and equitable for the benefit of all. And what is the benefit of all? That means addressing the complex, interconnected environmental, social, and economic challenges for the people and the planet. I think this is a very important concept. The disasters that I mentioned in Noto Peninsula is really the challenges, even though this is a local one, but it's still, it's a complex, interconnected, environmental, social, economic challenges indeed. So that has to be somehow solved by the open science concept. Open hydrology is particularly for hydrology field, and the UNESCO recently published a very nice book called Open Hydrology. And I think my understanding is that open hydrology is just a mainstreaming open science principles into hydrology. And interestingly, they promote the 6 pillars, and that includes open data, and then open source, open publishing, and open educations, open infrastructure, and open participations. And I realized that our activities are all related to these open, keywords, 6 pillars. So let me try to associate with with our activities. The first one is the IHP training course is definitely related to open educations. And that means, of course, these courses are, we welcome the students from Kyoto universities, but also we announce this opportunity to all the, people who are working on the hydrology field and maybe disaster-related fields, and practitioners, hydrologists, and maybe the people in the government, and of course in the world of the world. And in this case, this year, as Professor Tachikawa mentioned, about 40 people participated from 20 countries. And in fact, most of them are outside of Kyoto University. So that's quite open for everyone. And on the right-hand side, this shows you the kind of different the components of the lectures. But then you can see that there are many opportunities of the so-called exercise. And the exercise includes kind of data handlings, which is a very challenges now for many of the hydrologists. And also we introduce, for example, our models. This is just one of the examples. The model itself is not important for this today's talk. But then, for example, we develop the so-called rainfall runoff inundation model. And this is the open source hydrologic models. And then we try to introduce how this model can be used in what occasions for what. For example, how to analyze the floods, how to do the flood forecastings and so on. And then this is really like hands-on training that they utilizing the globally available data sets. That's again open data. For example, topographic data is now available globally, and then satellite-based rainfall is also available. So even though the data is somehow limited to some, the areas, people can actually do some hydrologic analysis. Of course, we emphasize the importance of, data collections as a basis of the hydrology too. But then this kind of essence can be learned. We also, this is a little bit about the research framework we are doing. But for example, for the entire Japan, we apply this kind of model for flood predictions. And this is more like real-time flood predictions for estimating what's the river discharge during the, for example, Noto Peninsula floods. We furthermore apply this model. It's called the rainfall runoff and inundation model. That means I hope this one can show. Yeah. For example, this one can show that which area to be inundated by the flooding. So this using this kind of information, different institutes can actually work also on the damage assessment, so-called impact assessments too. For example, insurance companies are now interested in quick, assessment of the damages so that they can prepare for the, the next actions. So this kind of starting from open source models, trainings, but also we conduct the research related to this. Utilizing the similar models, we also work on the climate change impact assessments. So this one shows you the entire Japan, how the river discharge is estimated to be changed. For example, 100-year floods will be changed by 1.2 times or 1.3 times under the 2K. 2K means that the 2-degree increase scenarios of the climate change, 4-degree increases scenarios under the climate change. So such kind of climate change impact assessments is also conducted in our research framework. And then now I emphasize that is the open data, not yet achieved, but then we hope that we can actually provide this kind of data available for the publics so that people can use hopefully for the local risk assessment and things like that. And then two more slides. I would like to talk about in the aspect of open participations. And that is related to the graduate level interdisciplinary lecture on the GSS, Global Survivability Studies. As I mentioned, that this lecture is very unique, that they composed by different professors, but then talk about the something related to GSS or something related to WENDI activities. And we talk about the water-related climate change, but also food security and energy and things like this. That means the students also have completely different backgrounds. And that's a very interesting, unique opportunities. And we enjoy, kind of communications, discussions with students. And let me share one of my experience just last year in this lecture. So I talk about what's the SDGs, what's the global agenda of the Sendai framework, etc. But also I talk about now, well, let us think about how difficult it is when we talk about the local issues. For example, Noto is one of the examples, how difficult it is when we think about the managing these kind of situations. So one of the interesting, what we did last year is that we conducted a kind of discussions by the students composed by about 8-9 students. And then we had the two groups. And each member of the students become different kind of play the roles. For example, the residents in the, it is that cases, let us consider a region composed with two areas. A village with higher disaster risk with poor families, B city with the relatively low disaster risk with many standard families and offices, for example. And then we ask them to, each of them become residents of leader of the A region, residents leader by B regions, company start a new business, developer or local, like politicians or something like this. Then we ask them to kind of discuss how to do. And one of the interesting experience for me was that we had the two groups, and then each group have the discussions. The group one says that, okay, now because we have the two, villages and the city, the group one focuses on the DRR, the investment on the A villages. And that will help for the regional stability, including B city. And then the group two, somehow the capitalism was very strong opinion. And then they say that, okay, we should develop the B city so that maybe the private development in A to create employment so that the economic development can be made even in A villages by investing, the B villages, B cities. But then I now ask them to, okay, please think about disaster occurred for both in A and B, then how you consider to be recovered. Then now the group one says that, okay, the residents, by investing some DRR investment, the residents can return to the A villages, whereas the group two could not somehow get the conclusions how to recover, and then the investment will be made, maybe not the A, but the other regions, for example. So my point of this kind of discussion is emphasizes the importance of science-informed practice and policy, but also how we always say that the balancing inclusive, equitable, and sustainable is very important, and it's a very always the global agenda. But then I kind of ask the students to experience how difficult it is, and it's how it's related to the political, decisions, and then communications are very important. So such kind of educations or lecture we give. So that's all from my side, and thanks very much for your attention.
Yeah, Sayama-san, thank you very much. If anyone have quick questions, please. No? Okay, after all talks, let's discuss about your presentation. Thank you very much, Dr. Sayama.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Then I'd like to invite Benjamin. Yamashiki-san. Thank you very much, Dr. Yamashiki. So Professor Yamashiki, please. He's also the one of co-chairs. Dr. Yamashiki, please.
Apology for the delay that I was wrongly understood the starting hour. So I would like to introduce our activity. It's Aquatic Environment and Water Quality course. It's AEWQ, and this is led by myself, and we have 4 professors. In our group, we have providing those lectures about the global survivability risk management and Earth, the water planet, about talking about the Earth system and the UNESCO Chair fieldwork and forest and society, and also the chemistry and the watershed management and the environmental risk assessment and the water sanitation engineering. And also this is a kind of additional to related, but it's a space, but kind of things. Actually, we have just started in the 2015 led by the UNESCO IIWQ, International Symposium of Science, Scientific, Technological, and Policy Innovation, IIWQ. We hosted the international meeting just 10 years ago. Yeah, it's 10 years, it's a long time. And at that period, Saranchuya was the head of the IIWQ, and I was the chairperson in the Scientific Advisory Board. And then at that symposium, we have almost 80 participants. And actually, you can take a look at all video and also the website if you Google the Kyoto University open courseware in Kyoto University, and all presentation and all the discussion you can see. Just Google open courseware Kyoto University and the IIWQ Symposium, and you can access all files. In addition to that, we have make a UNESCO headquarters. It's a exhibition about water quality by monitoring by using the satellite. This is a publication that by ourselves, but it was it's almost many years ago. But this is a kind of a submerged aquatic plant, and the distribution of the south basin of the Lake Beaver, and how can you obtain those information by using the satellite image. And this is a classification. Actually, we are doing the different phase, but it is not so improved from this. And okay, sorry, this is again the same one, and with the same links is available here. It's all presentation wave. And we are still working with global lakes and also the modeling. And we have prepared a global lakes reservoir repository holding 150 lakes and 83 reservoirs. But important thing is how to combine the numerical estimation for the considering the impact of the climate change. Actually, that model has the improved model is now being developed. It's still developing, and when it becomes ready, actually, the one PhD student is doing for the modification and improvement of the model, which can calculate under the different climate scenario, and we'll show you in the later stage. And this is a three-dimensional model calculation result of the Lake Toba, and also by our model. Also, we provide completely interesting the field work study. During the COVID-19 period, we developed the virtual field UNESCO WENDI. This is including all the video for the field. For example, this one is showing in the Yakushima Island, in the ocean. And this is a kind of a interaction between the river and ocean, and how the river water affecting the field in the ocean, right? So this is a kind of a combination with the diving and also the from the river side of the diving, and take a look at how much marine species and also the distribution of the different. So actually, we are doing not only the land, but also the estuary and also the main area, and also the detection, right? And also the coral too. So these videos are all available by accessing this site, but yeah, virtual field UNESCO WENDI Kyoto Sen. If you type this field, you can access. And also, we are also doing kind of this is a image detection and also the classification of the different type of the fishes by using the AI, it's a CNN convolution modeling, and to find out, to follow that different kind of the species can be automated classifying. Now I am showing that we are doing the kind of a field work by using the Shirahama field work, but it's a very local. If you come to Japan, you will see where is the Shirahama, but it's a coastal area. In the coastal area, we have an observatory of the Shirahama, and we learned about the field between the ocean and river. And also we do the stargazing also, and also there is an aquarium prepared in the field. And there we can take a look at all the fishes surrounding this field. And then this is a kind of a final picture with the students. So many students are very willing to join, and we are doing very happy works. And actually, we are focusing not only those water quality technology, but remote sensing is very important also. And also the climate change impact, and also the water quality impact. And we are still working with the UNESCO headquarters at the water quality. So we are one of the hub between the three center of excellence in the world. One is the Koblenz in the Germany, and one is the Florida in the United States, and ourselves. So we are part of the one of the center of the excellency in this field, and also we have to validate that how to provide the cost effective monitoring mean for the water quality. Okay, thank you very much. My presentation is end. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, Professor Yamashiki, thank you very much. Thank you for showing your activities, especially the fieldwork. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if you have any questions. Okay, then I'd like to invite Professor Benjamin McLaurin. He is in charge of energy and environment. Yes, Ben, please. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. I hope it's visible and I can be heard okay. All right, brilliant. So I will just go through a bit about, very briefly about our work here. So I'll be talking about the energy, environment, and resources component. So we have one of the courses which is mostly around energy, and it is mostly led out of the Graduate School of Energy Science. So this school, which is quite an old school in terms of in terms of energy, an energy-focused graduate school. It's been around since just before the Kyoto Protocol was signed, and it consists of a variety of different departments, 4 different departments, plus a couple of related institutes. But my department is the first one, the Associate Department of Socio-Environmental Energy Science, but we have a variety of energy research which goes on here, and there are at least a couple of professors from the graduate school who are involved in the WENDI program. Within the specific WENDI program, in our subset, the students would typically take one of our courses from the Department of Socio-Environmental Energy Science, which is focused on, which covers a broad range of different energy topics. I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about this. Sorry, I'm just trying to move around some things. So I'm just going to very briefly talk about the idea of energy linked to resources, rather than to talk too much about the activities within that are specific to WENDI. Again, we cover a lot of different aspects of energy, and obviously energy is very important, both in terms of normal operation of societies and in terms of trying to mitigate climate change, as well as in times of disaster, if we were to go into that. But basically, most of the work that we're doing is at some stage looking to try to move towards carbon neutrality and even further towards carbon negative solutions. And of course, that means that we need some mix of carbon neutral technologies for providing energy. And so again, within our course and within our school, we have many research and subjects in teaching, which would cover many different technologies, basically the whole spectrum of technologies, from very basic, from gas and engines through to nuclear fission and fusion, and more or less everything in the middle. But basically, if we're trying to achieve a low carbon future, then we're going to need to increase the use, particularly of various different renewables, but of different carbon neutral technologies. And of course, we also have to enable the use of low carbon energy in the demand side. And so one example that I just put in here is with the use of electric vehicles, or with hydrogen vehicles as an example for transportation. And so one of the perspectives that we would, of course, consider is that if we're trying to shift from things like gasoline vehicles to electric vehicles, then there is a shift of where the emissions occurring with that energy usage occur. So even though the emissions may, in some case, actually increase, the emissions will shift from being in cities where most of our populations are, to places in the countryside, which maybe it will be impacting on less people. That's not to say that it's necessarily ideal, but then if we want to further mitigate that, we have to shift from, of course, from fossil fuels to the use of renewables. But one thing which is becoming more and more relevant, and again, the UN, also the International Energy Agency, have been focusing more and more on the fact that as we shift to more of these clean energy technologies, we actually require a shift from fossil fuels to metal mining, to so-called critical minerals. And these critical minerals are going to increase in need significantly. So some of the research that we do is on building scenarios for looking at how much energy, what preferable technologies or potential technology mixes might occur in the future, and also to look at what the resource requirements would be behind that. So just a note that critical materials, or particularly critical minerals, are considered critical if they perform essential functions, and there's a risk that they might be unable to supply them. So it's not just the geological availability. We often use R on P, the resource to production ratio, as a measure of how many years of available resource there is. But when we look through the energy minerals, or minerals which are used a lot for energy, which we hear a lot about, so things like lithium or rare earths, for example, there's actually quite a lot of these available in terms of years, but they're becoming important because of things like some of the social geopolitical aspects. So countries trying to stop or willing to stop exports. Also countries where there are potential problems with violence, and particularly with the provision of minerals. We have the threat of or the potential for conflict minerals, which can be where the profits of which can be used to continue to fuel war. I'll skip over just a couple of these slides, but just to note that for one of the things we hear a lot about is lithium batteries for electric vehicles and also for storage. Battery storage is going to become very important or continue to become more and more important. And so a lot of the research that we do is based on either trying to quantify so for me specifically is quantifying some of the environmental impacts as well as some of the resource restrictions which might happen. But we also have a lot of research on trying to look at alternative materials, so sodium instead of lithium. But when you look back or you look at some of the issues around different metals, typically in lithium batteries, it's not the lithium that we're so worried about. It's the cobalt and nickel and manganese that we use in the electrodes. But there's also a real requirement to look more at recycling. Many of these technologies require only a relatively small amount of these minerals or these materials within the infrastructure, which can make them very difficult. Well, is one factor in making them quite difficult to recycle at the end of life. Another thing which we focus on a bit is hydrogen and fuel cells. So within hydrogen and fuel cells as well, there are various critical minerals. One of the ones which has been focused on for a while because it has a high cost impact is platinum, which is used in a number of different types of fuel cells and electrolyzers. And platinum has again, it has some geological and geographical distribution problems, being located in Russia and South Africa predominantly. And if we want to really increase some of these technologies, again, we're going to have a massive increase in the requirement for platinum. So if we want to replace the current vehicle fleet just for passenger vehicles, we'd need about at least 10 years worth of platinum if we're using PEM fuel cells. So recycling can help, but recycling will not always be able to provide us with sufficient mineral. There are also a variety of other resource requirements which again which we investigate. So there are minerals that we require for all different energy technologies, and we also have to think, of course, about circular economy solutions, so things which for the reuse, regeneration and recycling of these technologies and minerals to keep them in society rather than wasting them, and hopefully doing that with a lower environmental impact. And I'm also particularly very interested in deep sea mining and looking at both the potential emissions benefits, but also what the various impacts are. So I will just finish up there. There's a couple of survey links in there if you're interested in joining a survey, and very happy to answer questions or to be contacted at any further time.
Yeah, Ben, thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much. So any questions? Okay. I'd like to invite our last presenters, my colleagues, Professor Keisuke Katsura. He will talk about bioresources utilization. So Professor Katsura, please.
Okay, thank you very much for providing this opportunity. I'm Keisuke Katsura from Kyoto University. Actually, I am an agronomist. And in this WENDI program at our university, okay, I develop lectures that consider the importance of bioresources from the field of agricultural production. Since many of the participants in this program are non-specialists, so I try to provide topics that are as easy to understand as possible for such people and encourage them to think about environmental and bioresource issues in recent food production in the world. Yeah, actually, I had a slight misunderstanding about today's webinar and thought that the target audience would be the students. So today I would like to give you an example of the topic I discussed with a student in our program. So today's stage is the Altiplano in Latin America. As some of you may know, the Andean Mountains consist two mountain ranges and with plains in between. This plain is called the Altiplano, and its altitude is very high, around 4,000 meters above sea level. And what do you think is the white area on this map? It is not snow or clouds. If you like to travel, you may notice. Yes, this is the largest salt lake in the world, Cerro de Uyuni. During the rainy season, the lakes fill with water, but because of the water is only a few centimeters depth, there are no waves. And as you can see in this photo, it is very magical world. Even in such an environment, people have lived on the shores of Cerro de Uyuni since ancient times. And the fact that people are living there means that they have been conducted agriculture. And as you can see in this photo, crops are grown right up to the edge of the salt lake. This photo was taken during the dry season, and you can see that very colorful crops are being grown on the shores of Cerro de Uyuni. The crops grown here is quinoa, Chenopodium quinoa. Quinoa is a seed cereal crop native to the Andean mountains, and it has 8,000 years history. In recent years, demand for quinoa has been increasing, especially in Western countries. Here's a 1 minute look at quinoa's more than 8,000 year history. Quinoa was first cultivated in Altiplano, and it has long been revered as Chichia Mama, mother grain, and used in various religious ceremonies, perhaps because of its colorful grains on the desolate land. However, in 16th century, Spanish troops entered the New World. In fact, the area around the Altiplano is known as the origin of many crops of great agricultural importance, such as tomatoes, chilies, potatoes. And these crops were introduced by them and are now widely cultivated throughout the world. However, quinoa was not brought out, and the natives were forbidden to cultivate it. The missionary work of Christianity was a major objective for them. But quinoa, which the natives considered an important religious crop, was undesirable to them. So then quinoa disappeared from the face of the history for about 500 years. But after the 1970s, the United States National Academy of Science and NASA began to focus on quinoa, and it attracted attention. And in 2016, a Japanese research group led by our university was the first in the world to decode the draft genome sequence of quinoa. Thus, the momentum of quinoa research is growing year by year. So why is quinoa attracting so much attention? There are two main reasons. First, its high nutritional value. This table compares various nutritional components of quinoa and those of rice, and you can see that quinoa outperforms rice in many components. Some people even consider quinoa to be a complete food. Quinoa is also highly resistant to various environmental stresses. Quinoa can be grown with a salt concentration similar to that of seawater. Quinoa cultivation in the Altiplano can be divided into two types, the northern type and the southern type. In the north, environmental stress are not as severe as in the south, so several crops are grown. They grow potatoes, their staple food as the main crops, with quinoa, barley, and other crops in rotations. On the other hand, what about the southern Altiplano nearby the Uyuni area? Actually, no crops other than quinoa can be grown here. And cactus and a few drought-tolerant plants are the only the other plants that can be grown here. So it is very strange to see only quinoa growing in a land where no plants grow properly. And we often say that farming is a battle against weeds, but since not even weeds grow properly, there is no need to do weeding or spray herbicide. In addition, the occurrence of pests and insects is extremely low compared to the lowland areas, which makes it relatively easy to produce quinoa organically. Interestingly, quinoa in the south is larger, whiter, and of better quality than in the south. Because of the high quality of organically grown quinoa in Uyuni, it is sold at a high price in the Western countries. In the town of Salinas, located on the shores of Salado Uyuni, quinoa cultivation is so popular that there is a huge quinoa monument like this at the entrance to the town. This figure shows the changes in quinoa cultivation area and yield in Bolivia. The quinoa boom has begun taking place in recent years, and the cultivated area has increased 6 to 7 times over the past 50 years. This threatens the sustainability of quinoa cultivation. In addition, droughts have intensified in recent years due to climate change, and yields have decreased dramatically in recent years. The rapid increase in cultivation area in recent years has resulted in soil erosion and loss of soil fertility. In the past, when cultivation was done by hand, it was not possible to completely eradicate these native vegetations. However, especially in recent years when tractors have been introduced, which has resulted in the eradication of these native vegetations. Therefore, after quinoa is harvested, vegetation does not recover easily, resulting in these desert-like conditions. This situation not only reduces soil fertility, but also has other negative effects on quinoa. It is very windy here, and a lot of sand is blown in by wind. The quinoa seedlings are buried in the sand and die. Another serious problem is the loss of genetic resources. Since Altiplano was the origin of quinoa, there was a wide variety of quinoa genetic resources. Dr. Alejandro Bonifacio, he is the father of Bolivian agriculture, and he has devoted himself to the local agriculture for a long time. He was originally a researcher at the Bolivian National Agricultural Research Institute, where he collected and carefully stored thousands of potatoes and quinoa genetic resources from all over Bolivia. However, due to financial difficulties, Bolivia was forced to close its National Agricultural Research Institute, and now, for various reasons, a different department is responsible for managing the crop genetic resources. But the problem is that the department does not have staff with expertise in genetic resource management, and many genetic resources are now dying year by year. Against this background, Japan and Bolivia have embarked on a major collaborative research program that ranges from the maintenance and the management of quinoa genetic resources to the development and the dissemination of sustainable cultivation techniques. With time so short, I will briefly introduce the development of sustainable cultivation techniques that make effective use of biological resources. As I already explained, the local environment is very harsh and the biological resources are very limited. We are working to develop sustainable cultivation techniques that make full use of these bioresources. For example, as I mentioned, wind erosion is becoming a serious problem in this area. For this reason, efforts are underway to plant living barriers between farmers' fields in this manner. We are searching for native plants suitable for living barrier, developing propagation methods, and distributing seedlings to farmers to promote the technologies. We have also discovered a perennial lupinus that grow naturally in this area, and we are developing technology to intercrop it with quinoa. Lupinus is a leguminous crop that fixes nitrogen, which improves soil fertility and increase the yield of quinoa. In addition, because this lupinus is a perennial, it can cover the land after the quinoa is harvested, reducing damage from wind erosion. These technology, I mean the living barrier and the lupinus intercropping described, will undoubtedly contribute to the sustainable production of quinoa, but their effect will not be visible for a few short years. So if they are not effective in a short period of time, it is very difficult for farmers to accept the technologies, which is why we are working to re-evaluate the value of these local plants. For example, from Bacharistora, which is used for living barrier, we have discovered secondary metabolites that absorb ultraviolet rays, which could be used in sunscreen creams and other products. We have also discovered secondary metabolites in the lupinus that could be used in biopesticide. Once farmers are aware of the value of these plants, they will be more willing to accept the technology and conserve these plants. I have not had time to go into detail, but we also have discovered some local microorganisms that can be used for biofertilizers and biopesticides. And we are mass producing these microbial materials and promoting the technologies. By the way, in Japan, for example, you will see varieties of signs like this one for caution animals. But in Uyuni, this is the only sign you will see. I explained that the only crops that can be grown locally in Uyuni is quinoa. And similarly, the only livestock that can be raised there is llamas. The use of animal feces as compost for agriculture has been also practiced in these regions. However, the rapid expansion of quinoa cultivation has resulted in a shortage of compost. And another problem is a decrease in the number of native plants due to desertification, which has led to decrease in the number of llamas that eat them. This is a view of field after quinoa harvested, where a large number of quinoa stalks have been left abandoned. Quinoa stalks are very hard and cannot be used by animals. Therefore, we are considering the possibility of treating them with some special fungi and feeding them to llamas to improve their nutritional conditions. However, recent extreme weather events have been very serious. And in such a harsh environment, for example, even a few tens millimeters of less precipitation than usual can have a serious impact on crop production. In fact, such severe droughts have been reported for 4 consecutive years since 2020, forcing many farmers to abandon quinoa cultivation. So today, I introduced the current status of the agriculture in Altiplano, as well as the issues and the challenges it faces. So recent changes in the global environment are having a fatal impact on crop cultivation, especially in extreme adverse environments. So this issue needs to be tackled across disciplines while conserving limited bioresources. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. This ends my presentation.
Yeah, Professor Katsura, thank you very much. So we showed activities and contents of the WENDI. So the key word of the WENDI are the resilience in terms of water, energy, environment, resources, and disaster prevention mitigations. So now we talked that, we showed that WENDI provides students with a place to learn and discuss resilience in relation to water, energy, and environment, and natural disaster mitigation preventions by many faculty members who belong to different grad schools. So that is the idea of the WENDI. Thank you very much. Thank you. So any questions, and really, really welcomed. Thank you.
So if there are no questions, thank you, Professor, for the presentation, for your colleagues. Some consideration I want to share with you. First of all, my congratulations about the initiative, because it's very interdisciplinary, and especially is a way to transfer the knowledge to the new generation with a comprehensive view from different perspectives that usually in the academy we work in silos. This is a very, very good approach that permit to have the overall perspective of a theme on the theme of the resilience. The first consideration is that you mentioned that you in your course, you try to pass from the assessment and management to the governance approach of the problem. I think this is one aspect very important, because if I understood well in your different perspective, for instance, energy that proposed to pass to new technology, introduce new risks. So we have to take in account in the decision-making process of also this aspect from our side. From the other side, the last presentation underlined the importance to put together the science-informed approach, typical of university, with the indigenous knowledge becoming from the history of some parts of the world that can help the progress for the future, if we are able to put together the science and the indigenous knowledge. And I think this is a sort of synergy that 1 + 1 is more than 2. No, this permit to find new solutions. The other aspect, I think, that is very important for the students. I don't know if it was your experience during your courses. The students have the possibility to have a multi-perspective approach. And the question is, how was your experience in the course in terms of feedback from the students when you use the field work approach instead only the typical lecturers in online or in other forms? But I think the field work is a very, very good mean to transfer the knowledge and the passion for the new generation to this approach and also to these topics.
Yes, Stefano, thank you very much for very important questions. For my experience, I have one PhD student, and in my laboratories, he basically make numerical simulation models for floodings, how to make a prediction of the flood in a mountainous catchment or urban catchment. So that is his PhD research. And we are engineering, so we are not so much. I cannot give the much experience on the, for example, the field work, especially mountainous area, and also there who live there, and not know the people are very important. Not only disaster, daily life, water quality, life, or how to make a product. So that is very important, and the student can have opportunity to go and field work, and they can really have some interest. And then he or she back to my laboratories. I think they why the numerical simulation, flood prediction is important is really, I think that they can understand. So I think it's to improve their motivation. I think that this kind of field work is really, I think, well worked, and I'm really happy to this kind of opportunities. Myself is also very happy. I think that my colleagues, WENDI colleagues, provide these different environment. So not only engineering, for example, agricultural science or energy science or disaster prevention research institute. I think that these colleagues usually, if we have only one graduate school, we have no chance to discuss. But very nicely, we have one regular course, as Dr. Sama Shaw introduced, one course, global survivability. So this is not only engineering, different professors will provide some lectures, and also half of this lecture is discussions. So this is, I think, hope that students like this. Yeah, and yeah, if my colleagues or Sayama Sensei or Katsura Sensei, Ben, if you have some experience, please. Or yeah, I really, I think, enjoyed myself. Yeah. How is Sayama Sensei, Dr. Sayama? Or I think it's very interesting that you show some example of the discussions. I think it's kind of the role playing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit different from the questions related to the field works, but then the multidisciplinary kind of gatherings and the communications are very limited in many cases in graduate schools, as we experience. So usually the students will stay in our laboratory and focusing on the very single topic, and it's a very this research-oriented graduate schools. But then this kind of opportunity, I think they can help to share the issues globally. And then, as we discussed today, the students usually find some kind of interrelations. For example, today the Professor Katsura talked about climate change and water and erosions. Those are related also to hydrology too. So they found that, okay, this area maybe can be contributed to my approach. And then the energy is also maybe related to, for example, related to water too. So in such a way, we found that by communicating them, some people can contribute in different aspects. And so such kind of experience are very always interesting, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
If I can, another observation, that just a reflection with you. the last presentation about the altopiano in South America, I think is a good example of a sort of laboratory for the future possibilities to manage some future problems of food security in for also in other parts of the world where the climate change creates some strong differences from the actual situation. Is correct this observation, Professor?
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyway, yeah, of course, I also feel that the Altiplano is one of the front of the environmental change or climate change. So it is very, very good example. But related to the previous question, actually, this is my first year participating in this program. And this was my first time to have a lecture to the student in this WENDI program. And I realized that students from different fields knew less about agriculture or its the issues surrounding agriculture than I thought. But of course, similarly, I don't know much about engineering. Anyway, the topics that the staff members introduced today are all interconnected and affect our lives. So I want the student to realize that that is my objective, my mission to, for the student to participate in this program. Yeah, I want to show them the very, very realistic situation of the farmers' field, especially in the developing countries.
Maybe I should say something because I was present when you have been inaugurated in Kyoto some years ago. So I really must congratulate you about the presence and the variety of activities that you are doing. Your WENDI, the name itself, it's really going towards the nexus of water, energy, food, and land, which the majority of us, we are not covering that. We are not such with a wide approach. And that's why you have really a lot of graduate schools. You have combined that. It's not very easy elsewhere to do that. So it's really to congratulate that you were able. Now, I'm just checking, but I think that you are not talking to any extent bachelor and master degree. So you are just focused towards PhD and graduate level, which is then in a way a bit easier. For example, my university with 40,000 students, we have more than 20 PhD programs. And none of them, one is into environment protection. And there are like, out of 26 faculties and academies, roughly half of them are involved, like biotechnical and medicine and health and engineering, natural sciences, but it's not very easy to combine that. And you have done that from the very start, using this UNESCO Chair approach, which is fantastic. We have only one, and now we have got the second UNESCO Chair, which is in education for teachers, which is great about the sustainable development, but it is only at one faculty. And we are also mainly doing at Faculty of Civil and Geodetic Engineering. So I would say that this approach, wider and broader, is really in a way to follow if other hearing or to your lecture and presentations can have this starting position at university level to make it really broad and interdisciplinary and intrasectoral, because it's much easier. And you've done from the very first steps, and that's really great. So thank you for presentations. You're doing a great job around the globe. And our question might be how we cannot help you, but how we could collaborate from, of course, taking your ideas and your approach to transfer it in a way. So what are the niches? What are the chances, let's say, to more in-depth collaboration with you, all the other chairs? I think, Peter, there are 14, and we will do this, series of presentations, and then we're gonna see where we could collaborate. I don't know, exchanging stuff or students or do online together stuff. I think this is at the end a question how to really start working a bit more together. But you are really offering great job. Congratulations again.
Yeah, Professor, thank you very much. I think the first step, maybe we can collaborate is we have UNESCO IHP training course, and that is online course, 2 weeks intensive course. So I think we are really happy that the student or young researchers who belong to many different UNESCO chairs joined our UNESCO IHP training course. And that will be maybe one of the steps to collaborate each other. And also, I think that every time I think is, yes, we are now organizing this interdisciplinary course and provide this opportunity to students. But still, every time we renew this content, and also, I think because I think to collaborate is the same institute or same the graduate school of engineering, it is much more easier. But to collaborate with different the researchers who belong to different institute or different graduate school is now we are well collaborate with Professor Katsura, newly joined, and also Professor Mark-Lauren Ben, and also Yamashiki and Professor Yamashiki Sayama. Now we are collaborate very nice, but every time we need to keep in touch. Otherwise, and also how to attract these contents to the new student is also very much important. Same graduate schools, of course, student joins, and we can have a nice opportunity to teach students. But sometimes student not so much interest in to study the different course. So we are providing, for example, water, energy, resources, environment. But some students are very much interested in it, but most of the students not so much interested in it. So how do we disseminate this nice course and attract is still very much important. Every year we are thinking how to attract the student. Yeah, so maybe how to attract, maybe this will be very nice important things to share with other UNESCO Chair colleagues. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Tachikawa. Maybe a question. There is a platform offered by UNESCO for open sources, open courses. Are you contributing? Are you giving this opportunity so that guys around the world will see what you're offering through the UNESCO platform? This will be an added value, and it's easier maybe to go and see what is there offered from you, and then people can take a look like this. This is also now recording, so it will be offered somewhere. I think at our Catalyst webpage, isn't it, in Udine? So are you contributing to this UNESCO platform that you're giving?
No, but yeah, thank you very much. Yes, it's a very nice, good idea. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that the lecture, interdisciplinary lecture that I introduced, taught by many professors of the WENDI program, we had this year, I think as professors remember, we had one exchange student from Europe, and she was really excellent. That she brought completely different perspectives, and then it interacts somehow discussions very much from different perspectives. So I think including even couple of the exchange students are always very helpful, I think, for the discussions. Yeah.
I don't know if there are other questions, etc. If not, I would like to ask to Professor Matthias to introduce his next talk in the Resilience Catalyst series.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Dina, I didn't say.
Sorry, I had to leave around 10 o'clock, so I didn't listen to the meeting, unfortunately. But I was very interested by the presentation by Professor Sayama, and it was talking about open science and about the open resources that they have developed for the area around Noto, if I well understood, which has been hit by both the seismic event at the beginning of January 2024, and then later on by the flooding. And it would be very interesting to see whether we can have some joint activity to look at, as we have developed procedures that look at how the school system recovers when it's affected by multi-hazards, and what are the procedures, and that this could be a very, very interesting real case studies that we could look in if you have sufficient data, and that could be a quite different perspective from your more, let's say, hydrological geotechnical perspective, while we are looking more at the recovery of a very of a particular system like the educational system.
I see. Thank you very much. Let me take this note, and then because I have now in our laboratory, we have a visitor from, she's originally from Canada, and then she's working in the education field, and who just visited recently the Noto Peninsula, and then she was interested in the kind of the Japanese disaster prevention educations for the kids. And then, so it's a bit different from what you talked about in terms of but then she found that the Japanese system is a bit unique in many ways.
Yes,
we have many disasters, I suppose. And such kind of like social aspects also we studied. This time, currently we do not have very much social aspects. We originally had that component too, but then at this moment, because of our kind of capacity, human capacities, we kind of lost this kind of component. But obviously, Disaster Prevention Research Institute has, we do the research on these social aspects as well. And also, fortunately, at this time, that we have education also component, I mean, the person who is working on. So let me share this information, and if I can
yes, we look
notice.
at the physical infrastructures, resilience, and recovery.
I think that she's very much interested in the similar component. So, yeah, let me.
That would be great. Yes, we can we can follow up with a
separate Please let me know.
Yes, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I remember that the last time, Professor, you talked about, your colleague talked about the case studies in Philippines.
Yes.
And I think that is really, I think, the Philippine and also Japanese case and the different case. Maybe I think different. So I think that this kind of comparative study is also very much interesting.
Exactly. Yes, in the Philippines at the moment we don't have. We have applied it, and also in Dominican Republic we have applied it to cases where we know of past events, but we don't have, we have data about the vulnerability, but not about the damage. But in this case, for Noto, because you have these two recent events, it would be very interesting to look at the actual performance. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So may I pass the floor to Matthias?
Okay, thank you. This is the banner that will be changed. So next time, this will be on the 17th of February. We would like to shortly introduce what we have been doing since several years at UNESCO Chair on water-related disaster risk reduction. So basically, we are covering three processes generally. So floods, different type of floods, droughts, and rainfall-induced landslides. So this is part of the DRR. So we are not into tsunamis, volcanism, I don't know, many different types. We are covering many these three types. But the talk will be much more focused to, let's say, water infrastructure and especially water structure. So river engineering approach, yes, we are engineers. We are working at University of Ljubljana, but basically we are coming from Faculty of Civil and Geodetic Engineering. Okay, so the schedule is meant that I, as the chairholder, will introduce the chair. Chair is officially since 2016. So we have 8 years plus official chair. And before that, we have done some work, and I will give an overview what we are doing in different fields like open science, education, and research. Then there are 4 topics, and like causes, how to enhance resilience of water structures in Slovenia, some case studies, and maybe some solutions we are seeing. Slovenia is a small country, 2 million inhabitants, alpine area in the Central Europe. So we do not have many very different problems, but nevertheless, we have had quite large floods last August. Oh, well, that's already 2023. So a colleague, Professor Rusian, will show how this risk was assessed, and analysis, basically hydrometeorological analysis, and also some ideas how to enhance flood resilience in a society. So there will be given not just engineering, but also some social aspects. Then colleague Matea Klun, she will work and do some work in the field of health monitoring of dams. These are mainly dams for hydropower plants, but not necessarily. So this is an aspect that goes to dam engineering, no river engineering, dam engineering. The third one is a case study into debris flood. It wasn't a debris flow, it was a debris flood. So monitoring, modeling of a concrete torrential hazard close to the city of Ljubljana, which is capital of Slovenia. And the last one, which is also an interesting approach, is of course how to incorporate problems like biodiversity, flood resilience. And we have started last year to work in a pretty large European project, Nature Demo, which goes into using nature-based solutions. What are they? How we define them to make climate resilient infrastructure, roads or railroads. So how critical infrastructure is defined and how we can use nature-based solutions for it. A short overview, what we have done in, let's say, this first year of the project. So altogether, the same scheme, roughly hour and a half, some presentations like 1 hour plus some minutes, and then open discussion, questions about what will be presented. Now about the link. We will be presumably using MS Teams because for Zoom, maybe we are not having a license to do it. So we will publish soon on the webpage of the Catalyst talk the leaflet itself. The time is already defined. It's Monday, 1 o'clock in Europe, and its JST is pretty late, sorry for that. And GMT, London time, it's winter time here in Europe, so it's 12 o'clock. So the time is given. The title or the link will be, I think, given on the web in 1 week. I think that's enough just to have an idea, a flavor, what will be offered in 1 month. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we can meet all together during your next talk, Matthias. And again, thank you, Professor Tachikawa, and all esteemed colleagues for these great presentations. And have a good day and good night for you in Japan. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.